Indeed. Welcome to Straight Talk Africa, live from Washington. Once again, it's time to bring in my colleague and social media reporter, Mariama.
Well, thanks, Esther. Everyone knows that Africa is a vibrant continent with rich cultures, music, clothing, art, great food, scenic beauty, abundance of natural resources. I don't even know where to stop. There is so much more, and this leads us to our question of the week, asking, what is the one place in Africa that everyone should visit in their lifetime, and why? Well, we asked the question, and you certainly answered. But before we begin with your passionate responses, I'd like to thank you for using all our social media platforms to communicate to us. And another reminder that we are tweeting live today. Just use the hashtag VOA Africa Beauty. And if you haven't yet, please do follow us at VOA Shaka. Speaking of it, let's go to a tweet from Nada Anderson in Uganda, who writes that his favorite place is Kirigime, of course. Another tweet from Sandy Narty from Ghana, who writes, the Elmina Castle in the central region of Ghana is the place. It gives you a feel of how the slaves were transported. And speaking of which, Gore Island in Dakar, Senegal would also fall into the same category, we can say, since for many African Americans, it was the last stopping place before boarding through the door of no return to be transported to America. Let's take a look at one last tweet, this time from Abel Elibariki from Tanzania, who says, Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania because of unique features like wildlife, but also it is indeed the highest mountain in Africa, and it's snow-capped. Let's now turn to our Facebook followers and go to a comment from William Kokulo in Monrovia, Liberia, who writes, I think Liberia and going to see Wologizi Mountain is one of the best things to do. It's a green forest with several natural resources that now hosts Liberia's mineral reserve. It is worth visiting. Well, Esther, all those places mentioned are absolutely breathtaking, but some do have a significant historical value as well, like the places mentioned in Ghana and Senegal. Your take.
Mariama, this is very interesting. I'm wondering if my employer can give me a 1-year leave so I can visit all parts of the continent. But I can see you have so many more comments. And like you talked about the clothing, Mariama, when you come in with the African attire, everybody looks out to you, and especially when you have the headgear, which
I know. In fact, I actually don't always put the head wrap because I'm wondering sometimes when I get into the metro, sometimes I have it so big that I'll be like hitting people left and right. But it is very popular. I have to say my self-esteem certainly goes up. On days when I wear African clothes, everything stops. From the time I leave my house, from the streets to the metro to the cafeterias, everybody is just curious. Hey, you know, where is this from? Who made it? And then you go through a whole conversation. So it's very nice.
And I see you already have one there, beautiful, gorgeous dress there. So I gather you have more from the social media sites.
Absolutely. Let's go to actually Martin Nyalusi, who writes that in Tanzania you can visit Mount Kilimanjaro. It is very, very popular. A lot of people wrote about that. But he says also where one can also see the two giant glaciers of Kibo and Mawenzi. Other good places to visit are the Ngorongoro crater and the Maji Maji Museum. A lot of things to see and to do definitely in Tanzania. Let's take a look at one more post, this time from Bob Noble Mayembe, who writes, Victoria Falls, of course, in Livingstone, Zambia is beautiful. It is a must-see for sure. Esther, of course, once again, just breathtaking views about those places mentioned by our writers, our followers, I would say, listeners and everything in Tanzania, but also just many other places. And I want to actually ask Mr. Sanders out there. In the beginning of the show, he mentioned a few countries, and And Esther talked about the fact that have you visited Kenya? And Vendi talked about what about Sierra Leone? And I'm going to add right to it and ask about Senegal. Have you visited the beautiful West African country of Senegal?
We will definitely address that.
Yes, I've been to Senegal at least 12 times in the past 20 years. It's phenomenal, wonderful. It's the closest destination to go to for African Americans and Americans in general. 6 hours later, you're in Senegal, Dakar, Senegal, and you get to experience the fact that you're on the motherland.
Wow, you know, everybody is fighting for their native country. There's magical Kenya. You have to go to Kenya.
Yes, you don't need a visa.
Thanks, Mariama. Couldn't agree more with you. Indeed, Africa is endowed with such beauty. And so let me turn to you, David, here, because we've been talking tourism, we've been talking clothing, and we will talk about it, and music. But what about food? What kind of food? Are we talking about the West African cuisine, for example? If I come over there.
Oh, well, I think one thing that is becoming more popular now in West Africa is we call it kan in Sierra Leone. It's called kan in Sierra Leone, and the suya. The Nigerians call it the suya. Yeah. You know, that wherever you go, even here in America, it is all over the place when you want to get some real quality West African.
So before we start salivating here, because it's lunchtime, thanks, Mariama, for bringing us this week's audience reaction.
Well, thank you, Esther, and thank you to our guests. Obviously, Africa has 55 countries. It's a lot of countries, and everyone should champion their own, and every country should be visited because each of them is unique. It has its own specificities, its own beauty, its own people. So each of them works. That will do it for today's social media segment. Just a reminder that we appreciate all the feedback, whether it's in social media form or using other means to communicate to us. Please, please keep them coming. And if you are a new fan, just drop us a line at africatv@voanews.com. Once again, our email address is africatv@voanews.com, or post your comment on our Facebook page. Just enter the keywords Straight Talk Africa. Be sure to visit us online at voaafrica.com, or you can join our YouTube channel. Sign up to VOA TV to Africa, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. A reminder that the show is streaming live today, live every Wednesday. In fact, go to the VOA Straight Talk Africa TV program page on our website, or simply watch us live on your mobile device. Just download the VOA mobile app.